For Haas, 2021 is a year of treading water. After last year's dire campaign, it has 2 rookie drivers, no plans to develop the car during the season, and will focus its efforts on the opportunity presented by the major rules overhaul in 2022. Haas is very honest about the fact it's effectively abandoning this year. When the COVID-19 pandemic first hit, its development budget was cut, meaning last year's car didn't change at all from pre-season testing to the final race of the season. Despite signing up to the new Concord agreement, team owner Gene Haas's long-term commitment is still uncertain, and much will depend on it being able to put 3 seasons of struggles behind it next year and re-establish itself as a strong midfielder. Do subscribe to our channel to ensure you don't miss any of the race's extensive pre-season Formula 1 coverage, and strike the notifications bell so you know the moment there's something new to watch. The images released of the Haas VF21 are last year's car. The definitive car will be different, both to incorporate the aerodynamic rule changes and to add a little performance. For example, the floor on the launch images is to 2020 specification and therefore illegal this year, so that at least has to change. But there are reasons to expect an improvement from last year. If the Ferrari engine upgrade proves to be as significant a step forward as is hoped, that will give Haas a boost. The car is largely built around parts supplied by Ferrari, but while the regulations do allow teams who take year-old non-listed parts from technical partners to upgrade to 2020 specification components this year without spending development tokens, Haas last year was using the latest kit from Ferrari already. As Haas has confirmed, it has decided not to spend its 2 development tokens. The fundamentals of the car are identical to last year. The final Haas VF21 should also feature at least a few aerodynamic changes when the car breaks cover on the first morning of pre-season testing, given upgrades were designed but never manufactured last year. There will also be changes to the bodywork to accommodate the 2021 spec Ferrari engine and its cooling requirements. The hope is that it's at least enough not to drop off the back of the Class C group of teams it was in, along with Alfa Romeo and Williams last year. The main purpose of the launch was to reveal its new look, with a change to the colours of the Russian flag and new backer Uralkali. The prominence of Uralkali on the car is no surprise, given it's the family company of driver Nikita Mazepin. Mazepin has a distinction of becoming one of the most disliked drivers in Formula 1 history without so much as starting a race, with his conduct justifiably overshadowing the team's preparations for the season and even stealing the limelight from Michael Schumacher's son, Mick, in the other car. More on Mazepin in a moment. One of the priorities for what will be a long, hard season is to build the experience of its all-rookie lineup. But with the focus firmly on the opportunity of 2022, the team is resigned to a year spent relying on unusual circumstances to let it pick up some points. While Haas will have a low profile in the races, off-track it has been one of the big stories of the winter. Or rather, driver Nikita Mazepin has been, thanks to his reprehensible actions in a video posted on social media in December. This has resulted in ongoing criticism on social media through the We Say No to Mazepin campaign. Mazepin made his first appearance in front of the combined F1 media since the controversy exploded in an online press conference. He did address what he called his huge mistake by answering 8 questions, including 2 from the race, before the Haas team prevented further questions on the topic. He repeatedly stated he took full responsibility and has learned from what happened, but he refused to be drawn into a detailed explanation of exactly what he's learned or the nature of what he referred to as the team's help in educating him on his conduct. He also refused to confirm whether he had apologised to the girl involved, citing privacy reasons. But he did stress that the posting of the video on social media wasn't in my hands. Mazepin said that being an F1 driver means he's a role model and demands a certain kind of behaviour. Pressed further, he also claimed he understood why his behaviour was wrong regardless of his status as a professional sportsperson. But he did not apologise or say he was sorry during the press conference. Mazepin's answers were generally brief and not detailed, but regardless of how unconvincing his taking of responsibility is, he is in F1 to stay, given the prodigious backing from his family company and the fact the FIA and F1 as a whole quickly washed its hands of the situation and stood by Haas's treatment of Mazepin. He wants to do his talking on the track, and despite criticism that he's not good enough for F1 and that he's too aggressive in battle, his junior record is solid enough with race wins in Formula 2 and GP3. But he's going to have to do a lot more to convince the world that he really is a reformed character. After exploding onto the F1 scene in 2016 with Romain Grosjean's pair of top 6 finishes in its first 2 races, Haas made good progress. It climbed to 5th in the Constructors' Championship in 2018 with what was, on average, the 4th fastest car. But it then slumped with a 2019 car that had a fundamental problem with aerodynamic instability at the rear end in medium and low speed corners. While Haas appeared to fix that problem with its more consistent 2020 car, the lack of development and uncompetitive Ferrari engine consigned it to a season struggling even to reach Q2. Its drivers only escaped Q1 on 6 occasions. This year will be more of the same, and perhaps even worse. But the real focus is on getting through the season and making sure the 2022 car lays the foundations for a brighter future for the beleaguered team. Let us know in the comments below how you think Haas will do this year, and if you enjoyed this video, remember to hit like and subscribe.